Welcome to the channel. So we have the 2026 Model Y new model here. That's a 2022 Model Y. I've been looking at this car from when we first did the initial demo test run since when we've had this, and I've been trying to identify what are the subtle differences or the changes that are in this car. I'm going to call them the Easter eggs in this new model compared to the previous model. A lot of them, some of them might not necessarily like an Easter egg, but I have found some things where it's like definitely, oh wow, did not know that did that, or it's just significant, obvious improvement with this model than that model. So on that note, let's get into it and show you what those are. First, let me tell you about this light here. I talked about this light in my demo video. Now you can't see it. There's this light that's down here on both sides when you open the trunk. Right now it's off, so you don't see it. I'm going to show you something with this light. So now I've turned on the lights, and now what you see is this light is on now, and on both sides it's shown up as red. What you may not know is when your turn signals are on, this light also respond to match that. Let me show you what that looks like. And so now I have the right or left turn signal that came on, it's gone off, but you saw that flashing. I'm going to actually put on a hazard light and you see. And I think the reason why this is done this way is for when you're carrying stuff and you have your trunk not closed all the way and it's something like this, right? You have load sticking out. I think the benefit of that is it lets whoever's behind you be able to see that you're signaling or that you're there, of course, because now your turn signal is up here and may not be visible when you're driving, but down here it's visible. So there we go. I have the hazard lights on now. You can see both of them are now flashing just like the ones on the tail light. So if your trunk is open and you're driving and your trunk is open and you can't have this visible, you've got another view down there that shows you turn signals. It does not show you brake lights, unfortunately. When you turn the brakes on, it does not change color. It just stays on as red. So that's first Easter egg that I observed in here. Another thing while we were here in the trunk space is this parcel shelf. Now, our previous order Model Y over there did not come with a parcel shelf, so I don't know if this is new with this one, but I want to believe it is. But this parcel shelf here has a storage spot under there. So you can see that cutout over there. That's where it goes. And I was doing the manual, is the way it's supposed to fold this. You push up and then something, there we go, like that. So let me show you how that goes again. You take this front part here, you push up, you fold it over, then you grab this, and then you're gonna lift up. And when you lift up, you lift up and push in, and then that folds it, and then you can now pick it up. It's held down by magnets. There's magnets in this shelf over there. But now, once you have that folded, you can simply just now put that. It's hard to walk with one hand. Put that in there, and you can close this, and boom. So that's where you store the parcel shelf. It's got a nice cutout for it to put it there. Now let's talk about some light features here. We already know about this light bar. That's not what it's about. But if you look on this Model Y over here, on this side panel here, now I do have custom tail lights, so which is, might be a little bit, it's different from Tesla OEM, but even on Tesla OEM lights, there are no lights from the side. All you get is this reflector, no lights on the side. On the launch, you have a light here. So you saw the reflector that's on the charging port, but now there's a red light that's here in the back. In the front, there's also a light, and that's down here. That's now visible specifically right there. On the front side for this, you don't have a light. There's a little reflector that's in here. This is the Legacy Model Y. There's a reflector that's in there that when this fog light is on, you will have that little reflective glow of the yellow in there. But in this one here, you have the reflector in there still. We actually have an actual physical LED light that's also there. So what this does is, looking at a car from the side, and I don't know if I'm going to get the full view here, you're able to see basically where the front is with the yellow light and where the rear is with this light. And I believe in the manual, Tesla called that something specifically. They were called the side marker light. So you have the rear side marker light and the front side marker light. So again, something that's definitely new with the new Model Y. Let's go into some of the interior differences now on here. On the new Model Y, when you open the door, the window doesn't go all the way down. You can see it stops right there. If I close the door, then it goes down all the way. When I open the door, it pops up a little bit. Not sure why. On the Legacy, it's all the way down. When I open the door, it stays all the way down. So again, this is not quite an Easter egg here. This is more of a difference that we'll talk about at some point. But let's go back to Easter eggs in here. This car, we know about the launch portal lights, but now there are pocket lights in here. And so right there, in each of the doors, there are now pocket lights that's shining into the pockets of the cars. So over here, you can see there's a light over here. There's also light in the rear right there. And this light can be adjusted with when you adjust the brightness on the screen, it also adjusts the brightness of this light. So you now have pocket lights in all the doors. Then let's move on to other things on the interior. On the interior, I want to talk about this lights here. You've always had these lights here for the rear passengers. It's like reading lights. There's one here, one on the passenger side. But on the previous model, it's a physical press button. Now, it's touch capacitive. I believe that's what it's called. It's no longer a button. You simply touch it and it works. You can't just touch anywhere. You have to touch the light itself and it will come on. The same for the front light also, and even the other light. Previously, all of this were actual hard press buttons. Now they're just touch capacitive. I tap that, it goes on. That's also one more thing here that's new. When the doors are open, it doesn't have the full brightness. When you touch it, the brightness goes to full brightness, and then you touch it again, it goes off. Unfortunately though, you cannot adjust that brightness. Turn it on and off. You can adjust the brightness. But again, these buttons here are no longer buttons. They're just now touch sensitive buttons instead of actual physical press buttons. Something else now, this is a launch edition Easter egg. I don't think it's gonna come with the regular Model Y, but if you look at the screen on the car, you will notice there's now an option to have a startup display. Nothing fancy about it, but it's just different. So I'm going to open the door and you see what will happen on the screen. You have that launch logo startup sequence. So again, that's an option that's actually in your settings. It's in display and it says vehicle logo. And so basically when you have that turned on, it will do that. So I don't know if this is going to be in a regular Model Y since it only shows you the launch logo. But that's something that's never been in Model Y. And the app will show you the logo also. All right, let's talk about one more thing that's with this model that's not with, actually, I've not seen another model, and it's with when it comes to the AC. On the AC, you have regular view, it looks just like everything else. You've got the front control, rear control, keep mode, dog mode, camp mode, same things down here. However, there's this one icon over here. This one icon is new. There's one here on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. And what does it do? It's the swing mode. So, oops, lost that. It's swing mode. So if I turn that on, what it does is it makes the air, and you can see, let's get that view again. So if you look on there, it says swing mode activated. and you can see the airflow on the passenger side. You can see how it's going from left to right. And same thing on driver side. You can choose to also have it on the driver side. When I turned it off, the air split that way. Once I turn it on, swing mode activated, and you can see now the air goes left to right. So the vents in here have actuators that move the vent, the airflow left to right. And it's nice if you just don't want the air blowing in your face directly. You want it to just kind of go left to right. I don't think this is going to be a launch series thing. I think it's probably going to be with just the new Model Y and probably any new Tesla going forward. But we'll see once the new Model Y start getting delivered if it's something that's limited to launch series only, or if it's just the new Model Y. Yeah, and so those are some of the Easter eggs that I've found so far. I mean, again, there's lots of other things that I'm calling them Easter eggs only because there's stuff that it's not publicized. Like, for example, those two trunk lights. I looked in the manual and I did not see anything in the manual that talked about those lights. So some of them are not quite Easter eggs. Some of them maybe. But again, at some point, I will do a proper detailed comparison of the two models. If you're in the market and you're trying to figure out, okay, are there any key things to note, or is there anything that moves the needle for you? Hopefully that helps you decide. If you're in the market for a Tesla, actually now that the new one now you can order the new one and you want some savings, you can use a referral link and this will get you some savings off of your order. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. Again, lots of content that's going to be coming up here with accessories, modifications, comparisons. We've got both versions now, at least for the foreseeable future. And so if you're not subscribed, hit the button subscribe, and we'll see you as always next time.